Hello and welcome to The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer, Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker. It's Sunday evening when we're recording this episode and the day's games have just finished moments ago. A nice Sunday roast, some entertaining football. Micah, you're at home as well and enjoying the day off, I presume. Not been working, didn't see you on the Sky screens today. Alan, however, is definitely not at home, I can see that. Tell us where you are, Alan, and what you've been doing.
I'm in Nashville, Gary. Been here for the weekend with the Premier League. They have the Premier League live mornings event with NBC, and it has been bloody brilliant. I mean, the atmosphere and everything else. I've never been to Nashville. Has anyone been to Nashville?
I've not.
Nope, I've not.
It's supposed to be a great place, though, isn't it? It's fun as well, music and all that.
I walked up Broadway, right up the street. It's like the fucking Big Market on steroids. It was like it's like crazy. I mean, there's music. There must be 3, 4, 5 floors in some bars, but there's a band on every floor. It's just like crazy. Micah, you would love it here.
Would I really?
It's right up your street. No one goes to bed. Music all night. People everywhere. Drinking all night. Right up your street.
Can you do the accent yet? The American accent?
No, I can't. No.
Nashville, Tennessee.
But all the folk from Tennessee can now do Geordie.
It's honestly, it's been amazing. I think they've had over nearly 16,000 fans yesterday and today, which from all the supporters of. That's where it's sort of different. You could never do it in the UK because they end up fighting and killing each other, wouldn't they? But it's over here. It's the atmosphere has just been electric. It's been brilliant.
Yeah. Do you sense it's growing as a sport there?
Massive. I mean, I've done 7 here now in America, and from the first one we did to this one, over the years, the interest has grown and grown. It's got bigger and bigger. I suppose with Messi coming over here to play as well, that has added huge interest to it as well. So it's absolutely getting bigger and bigger.
Do you get recognised?
Yeah, because they're all football fans, aren't they? Not so much walking down Broadway when people are probably, well, how can I say it the polite way? Smashed out of their heads, so probably don't recognise me then. But in the fan fest with the Premier League, it was they love their football.
Are they all listening to the pod?
Honestly, guys, I'm no word of a lie. Every 10 yards, someone was pulling me to one side. He says, I love the podcast. Tell Micah, tell Gary, we absolutely love it. The number of people that have said it to us over here, Americans that live to it, is incredible. Brilliant.
I just want to say to everyone, thank you so much for the support.
No, you got to do it in American accent. Come on. Hey guys, I just want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. That was shit as well. Who were you working with, Alan? Who was there?
I was working with the Premier League, but Rebecca Lowe presents. 2 Robbies, Robbie Earl, Robbie Musto and Tim Howard are on the pundits and presenters. And there was, who was here? Ledley King was here, Daniel Sturridge was here, so Mo Farah was here, Rob Lee was here. So yeah, there was a
Mo
few.
Farah?
So Mo Farah, he was here with Nike. He was doing a couple of bits with Nike, yeah. So yeah, it's really good.
Excellent stuff.
Really good.
Shall we talk about some football? What about that game at Old Trafford? It was bonkers, wasn't it? I mean, Liverpool was so dominant in the first half. You thought, I mean, they could easily have gone in at half time, 3, 4, even 5, and you wouldn't have kind of batted an eyelid at it. And you wouldn't have given them a chance, but you never know what you're going to get with United. And they came, obviously, there's a big mistake, got them back in the game, but it was a mad game of football.
It was just absolute madness, wasn't it? I think, Super Sunday, and I think we're going to talk about Celtic and Rangers a little bit later on, but in terms of when you're at home and the entertainment and you turn on your TV, that's exactly what you want. They're 2 amazing games, but the Man United game, similar to the Cup game in terms of Liverpool dominating and not taking their chances, but it was just strange. I've never seen so much space in the middle of the park all season. It was madness. It's almost like a basketball game. I understand that Man United wanted to be on the front foot because when you're at home, you want to get the fans behind you and you wanted to give them something. So you had players sort of trying to press and show them working hard. All the things that they've been criticised for this season, they made sure they was doing the right thing. But there was no tactical nous in what they were doing in that first half. It was almost like a man-to-man in midfield, and Mainoo was playing a little bit higher. Casemiro was left alone in the middle, which didn't allow the space for Szoboszlai and McAllister just to dictate in the middle of the park. But for a neutral, it was so entertaining. But just for the managers, it was just madness, absolute chaos.
It was brilliant, wasn't it? It was, Liverpool absolutely battered them, didn't they? I mean, what a result for Man United only going at half-time 1 down. I mean, it should have been 4, 5, maybe even 6. They didn't take the chances. What was it, 15 shots, and Man United never had one effort at all in the first half. I mean, they were rotten in the first half, but you've got to give them credit, for the way they bounced back. They could have folded. They were under pressure. You could hear the moans and groans of their own fans. And I know it took a huge error from Liverpool to get them back into the game, but my God, what a finish that was from Bruno Fernandes, eh? It was an unbelievable finish. And then the second goal from Mainoo, who, I'm sure we'll get onto him in a minute, but what a goal. And then all of a sudden you think Liverpool have only got themselves to blame for all the chances they missed. And they got back into the game, and they deserved at least a point, Liverpool, but it was a brilliant game, wasn't it? It was so open.
Yeah, sensational stuff. It just shows you how important finishing is, though, doesn't it? Because, when push comes to shove, that's what makes the difference. So you can play all the great football in the world, but if you can't finish it off, and they did miss, a number of
it's one of those, though, isn't it?
Very reasonable chances.
It's one of those where I bet you everyone sat there, bar no one, saying Liverpool are going to get punished here. If they don't get a second or a third goal, they're going to get punished. And that's exactly what happens. And yeah, you're right. You've got to take your chances.
I've got a bone to pick with you presenters, though, Gary, because what happens
hang on a minute.
Whatever broadcast you...
Presenters in general, or...?
Just presenters in general.
Or just me personally, or...?
Well, just presenters in general. But seeing as though you're a presenter, I thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, all right. What's your issue?
You keep asking us who's going to win the league. So when Arsenal comes to Man City and get the draw, Man City have blown it, there's 3 teams in it, they can't afford to draw games. And now Opta, after the draw with Liverpool and Man United today, they've now got Man City favourites to win the league again. It's madness.
What the hell has that got to do with presenters?
Because you ask us the question all the time.
I asked. Well, it's our job to ask questions. If we didn't ask questions, what happens? We just come on air and we go, Micah, go on,
Gaz,
speak. Gaz, what? I don't know. I'm not allowed to ask a question.
No, brilliant.
I don't know. I blame it's fine blaming the presenters, but I was saying about that. I think it was in the midweek match of the day, wasn't it? Was Alan, when they were talking about that supercomputer prediction?
What a load of shit!
Opta's supercomputer.
Honestly.
I mean, I think Opta are amazing with their statistics, and they do a good job. But and I get it. But the supercomputer, it's not like us. We tip a team to win the title, and then they tip a different team every week, and you just think, hang on a minute, 77% chance of them winning the league. Then next week they're down to 33%. You think that's not so supercomputer.
It's like that shit that comes on halfway in the game, isn't it? When someone's leading 2-0, there's an 80% chance they're going to win this game. I mean, really, tell me something I don't fucking know, will you?
Well, hold on, Al, don't go too deep. They might want to sponsor us sometime soon.
That's a good point. Yeah. Take it back.
They're great. They're great. I'll tell you what, while we're on little irritants, one of mine is become this new kind of, it's not new, but it's growing, this need to put replays of everything, and you're suddenly missing live action. I mean, particularly today in the top. No, I mean, it's everywhere. It's not just Sky or BT or BBC. It's everywhere now. We're obsessed with replays. Wait till the ball's out of play. At least where you've got a good gap. Yeah. About 4 times today, you can hear the atmosphere in the background. You're going, Something's happening. Show us the live coverage. It's just it's a weird trait at the moment. So match directors, memo. We don't need. There's no desperate need to see a million replays a minute, particularly of a meaningless foul and stuff like that. We don't need to see that 100 times. That's just a personal view. Listeners may have a different perspective on it. You wanted to talk about Mainoo, Alan.
Oh, my word.
I mean, he's 19, isn't he, in a couple of weeks' time? Yeah. Not just his performance, but also, I don't know what you thought, but his post-match interview. I mean, he's so kind of bright, articulate, measured, confident, in many ways similar to Jude Bellingham in the way he handles himself. And I know players have probably coached a little bit in that area these days, but to be that natural and that confident and mature at such a tender age, I think is so impressive.
Yeah, do you know what I love? When he scored, I loved his celebration. It was like, look at me, look how cool I am. And I mean, the whole world was obviously looking at him as they were during the game. But you would never know because he's taken everything in his stride, isn't he? He's just so bloody good. What a talent. I mean, proper talent. Incredible.
I just wanted to ask you guys about the finish. Because what I loved about it the most, and it's yes, the bend and the curl was brilliant, but it was the way he took it on the half turn. So the way he shaped his body up to say, okay, the ball's coming to me. He almost knows what he's going to do before the ball's coming to him, and he's just relying on his ability and his technique to do the rest. Is that fair?
What are you doing asking questions, Micah? I thought that was an irritant.
I'm off to your job, Lineker.
I'd love to see you have a go.
Oh, not a chance. Reading an auto cue frightens the life out of me.
No wonder you can't fucking read, that's why.
Well, he couldn't see the ball until he got within 10 yards of it.
There is zero chance I will ever even attempt to be a presenter. So you don't need autocue. You can do it without. It's actually easier without in many ways because you just say, you just have a few little words and you cue. I mean, when we do live games, obviously half time at the end of the game, we don't bother with autocue or anything, and there's, you get live into it. It's quite easy that because you just got a few words. I mean, the reason that they have autocue for match of the day and stuff is because obviously there's a lot of matches and it's very timed and specific and they need to know when they're going to hit the match and all that. So it's more for the production probably than the actual presenter. Yeah. But it's not that. It's reading out loud. It's not that difficult, really.
Guys, you remember during the World Cup in 2018 when we were in Moscow and we got the 3 young England players into the studio to read the auto cue?
Yes.
Who was it? Who was it again?
Mason Mount was the one. He was quite good, wasn't he, Mason Mount?
So we had Mason Mount, Sessegnon and Phil Foden, I think it was, yeah.
Phil Foden, yeah.
Mason Mount, I think, was brilliant. He was just like straight through, not one error, not one slip up. He was perfect, wasn't he?
He's young enough to not be affecting me, I think. Tighter race lively now, isn't it? 1 point separating the 3 teams. Arsenal leading on goal difference. I mean, it's tasty, isn't it? I mean, it's certainly not beyond the realms of possibility that all 3 teams from here on in could win all their games. So on Saturday night was with Ian Wright, and at the end of the Arsenal game, obviously they got another good victory, and I just said to him, "This is meant to be right." I said it'd be the last day of the season. Arsenal need to win the title. Ian Wright's last ever match of the day. It's written in the stars. I think he got quite excited, a little bit emotional.
Oh, it's exciting, It's exciting.
I mean, I don't care what the supercomputer says, but it could be any one of the 3, couldn't it? It really could.
No, it's been a good weekend for Arsenal and a good weekend for City. I don't see. I mean, I look at the fixtures. Even City, I would think, other than they've got Spurs away, which has to be rearranged. I don't see any of the teams going right the way through and winning every game.
No, you don't.
No, I don't know. I think there'll be. I just think there'll be a little hiccup here and there.
I'm not so sure. I think one of them might. I think one of them, maybe two. I don't know. It could go anyway. I mean, Liverpool could have easily lost this game in the end, couldn't they? But that. What did you make as a defender, Wan-Bissaka? I mean, he's normally a brilliant tackler, and he's one of those that goes to ground, but he always normally has that telescope leg, and it was a bad one, wasn't it? A bad mistake.
Do we think that was a penalty? That I understand it. The referee gave it, didn't he? And he's not going to overturn it. But if you actually look closely, he sort of he misses the ball, he misses the player, and then as Harvey Elliott's going down, they sort of just get the legs tangled a little bit.
Yeah, but if you go lunging in like that at that speed, in slow motion, you can make out it looks like he's done. But that happens in like a millisecond. That he slides in, misses it, dumps up, you're over. Yeah. And obviously, there's no divine right for the attacker to try and jump over someone's legs. And you know, as a striker, don't you, Alan? You know when someone's sliding in, you think he's not getting this.
Correct. Yeah.
Therefore, why should I jump up in the air?
It was a penalty.
I don't think he dived at all. I just think it was
he didn't dive.
Very
no, I mean,
minimal.
He left his right leg down. Why wouldn't you when that someone's going in like that? So no, it was a penalty.
It was like the one yesterday, the Brighton Arsenal one, wasn't it? Where he sort of he got the ball first as well, but. The laws are now. It doesn't matter if you take a little bit of the ball. If you take the man as well, then you know you're going to get a penalty.
And I know we talked a little bit about Mainoo, but I want to give a quick shout out to Kwamwala as well at the back. I mean, he started off quite nervous, as you expect. Not that many appearances in the Premier League, but to come into a game of that magnitude is daunting for any player. And I just thought, even when he made mistakes, he didn't make a second and a third mistake. He composed himself. And if you're looking at the whole game overall, I thought he was excellent. I think he's only 19 as well. So
I know, and he's whipping up the crowd at one.
Exactly, yeah. He's got the confidence. I really like the look
doing
of
that
him.
When you're 19. I think they're a bit more confident.
Yeah, he did well actually. He did well.
So, Micah, who do you think is going to win the tie?
You know what? I probably agree with you, Gaz, in terms of I think there'll be twists and turns. Obviously, European football's coming into play starting tomorrow. But I just think if you look at Man City's game, it was always talking about Foden, and he gets a hat-trick midweek, and then people are saying Kevin De Bruyne's levels come down a little bit, but against Palace, wow. He was
that first one particular.
Incredible. He's just got a swagger about him. He knows he's still the main man. And what's weird is people asking how they're going to get Foden and De Bruyne in the same position, but a lot of the time De Bruyne goes on the left or the right. You know, just play Foden behind Haaland and you've got, De Bruyne can play the side.
Well, the thing is, they're clever enough players where they can just change positions, interchange, rotate. In fact, that's what the most encouraging thing I thought about last England performance when the England players were actually for the first time not kind of in a structure, but they were allowed clearly to rotate. And it was like Bellingham and Mainoo and Foden were interchanging all the time. And I think that's kind of the way forward. And obviously Pep manages to do that. So even if, Foden starts on the right sometimes, but suddenly you'll see De Bruyne on the right and Foden inside. And that's one of their great strengths, I think. But I do think it'll go to the last stage.
I do. I agree.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if it didn't.
I think we've also got to take into account European games. I think they're going to play a huge part in terms of I know who have Arsenal have gotten, City gotten, Liverpool, and European. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it could go to the last day of the season, which would be amazing. Not for the players, because I've been there myself. When it goes to the last day, it's not very pleasant.
Unless you win it out.
Well, then it's well worth the stress and all the shit you have to go through and everything. But for the players, it's tough. But I think you're right. I think it could go at the last day of the season.
Arsenal were good yesterday, weren't
very.
On Saturday, I should say.
They're just excellent team now, aren't they? And they can change it up. They can defend when they need to, attack when they need to. Great mentality. Even when they're under pressure at times, they withstand the pressure or withhold the pressure and just do what they need to do. They're a machine now. Fair play to them. They're exciting. And a lot of things, a lot of people not talking about. When we won a league with Man City, we won it on goal difference. And their goal difference is the best.
It's well clear
at this moment in time. So that it's like an extra point essentially, isn't it, for Arsenal? But yeah, I just think they're great to watch. They really are. They've definitely matured, like we talked about on Wednesday last week, Gary, didn't we? A year older, as you said, on Match of the Day. But they just look, I think Gabriel, Saliba.
Oh, what a partnership
It's class. It's class. And they just look hungry. It's going to be interesting to see if they can hold it to the end of the season now.
You can make a case for all three.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are. I don't think you could predict at the moment with any real confidence.
No.
Which one? I mean,
there's a great story for every club as well, isn't there? I mean, every club, Arsenal, Liverpool, and City have their story. I mean, we know Liverpool and the Klopp one. Arsenal, 20 years, isn't it? And after what happened last year, City, first team ever to do 4. So there's a story for every club, isn't there? But you're right. I mean, whoever we predict, we can't see it without real confidence in them doing it, because it's going to be kicked mad.
Who's going to do it?
If you could predict one, that's why I never asked that question.
If you could just pick one, and I'm just saying.
Everybody's doing it.
Gary, I've just got to pull you presenters up, Gary. I mean, you ask the questions. I mean, if you could predict who. Okay.
Should we mention the Ben White?
Yes, we should. What a joke that was, man.
I mean, what I don't understand, play acting I don't like, I never have, I don't get it, I don't know why players do it, but particularly now when you've got so many cameras at the ground and you've got VAR that are there anyway that would look at if you've kind of made someone get a red card, do you not think to yourself, God, that's a bit embarrassing doing that? And Ben White's not the only one. There's lots of players do it. Not at different times we've seen it happen. But I just think to myself, why would you bring that on yourself? You just look a prat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's embarrassing. It was very, very embarrassing.
Leave Ben White alone.
I'm not having it. Leave. Is that a song?
But yeah, it was
Leave
great,
Ben
wasn't
White
it?
alone. Yeah, he's a good player though.
Oh,
having a great season.
He's having a really good season.
Class player. Honestly, I'm so happy for him.
Just off the top of my head, I got asked a question today. Who's the player of the season?
Ooh.
I went, well, at the minute.
Bloody presenter asked that stupid question.
I went with 2.
I know you got Foden will be one of them.
No, I didn't say Foden. No, I went with Saliba or Van Dijk at the minute.
Oh, you're bloody centre forward.
I know, that's
You've got two centre halves.
2 centre halves, I know.
Oh, no, I think central defenders, I love them both. They're 2 brilliant defenders, but the game's gone if you have a season like this and we have to give it to a bloody stopper.
Hey, if Arsenal win it, he'll get it.
Oh, that's a great question. Is that
It normally goes to a member that. Although the vote will be for the end of the season, won't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
I mean, they leave it later now than they used to, but I think Foden must be.
Should we give three names for each team? So
Ollie Watkins has had a great season. We weren't not quite player of the year, but
Odegaard,
McAllister at Liverpool. Odegaard's been terrific. Saka's been great.
McAllister.
I think it's a really tight one. Yeah, I mentioned him. Salah's done his numbers as always. So I don't know.
How mad is it with none of us have said Haaland and he's his top goal scorer?
Well, yeah, he's been out for a while and stuff and missed a bit of the season and he won it last year. But I don't think, I think for an out-and-out goal scorer to win the Player of the Year, you've got to be banging in like close to 30.
Premier
and he
League,
still might do that. He still might do that
yeah.
in the Premier. Well, in the Premier League, but yeah, there's so many to choose from at the moment. Me personally, and it's just my view, I think I'd vote Foden, but I'd like to wait a few more weeks because it's now, isn't it? Now's the nitty gritty. Now's when the big boys stand up. Quarter-final of the Champions League coming up for Arsenal and Manchester City, Liverpool in the Europa League, and the title race. So, but a very good question, Micah. You've shown promise.
That was mine.
Oh yeah, and I'm showing deterioration. I can't remember who asked the bloody question. Great question, Al.
Ah, cheers.
The fourth and fifth spot took a bit of a twist, didn't it, this weekend with Villa dropping points and Spurs winning this afternoon. I thought Spurs. Most games when you watch Spurs are quite good because they play quite gung ho, and I thought Van der Ven's good, isn't he?
He's not bad, is he? It's good. What about Chris Wood's chance?
Oh, why was he trying to break the back of the net? He couldn't miss it if he just dinked it. Do you know what happened now? Because he's been obviously on a brilliant run of goal scoring form. When something like that happens, I don't know. From my experiences, you tend to go on a bad run. And I don't want to wish him ill.
Just put a curse on him. Oh my God!
He's cursed himself by trying to break the net when all he had to do was just lift it gently in.
Hold on, what is that? No, hold on. You've just said he's going to go on a bad run now because he's missed.
I never said he's going to. I said those sort of things do happen after that because tonight he'll be thinking and it affects you. It can affect your confidence when you do something daft like that.
I'm with you, guys. I'm with you.
I mean, I hope I'm wrong.
We'll speak to Alan. He's gone a lot of games without scoring a goal.
We haven't spoken to him since then, have we? That when our producer Richard Hughes managed to find the stats.
He set me up there, by the way. He chucked me right out there, didn't he? He knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing.
and honestly, Alan, I didn't actually want any part of it.
Yeah, righto.
So for those that weren't staying up really late in midweek, because midweek match of the days, there was a bit with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Obviously, he'd scored his first goal in a hell of a long time with the penalty in midweek. And as football happens, he scored again.
We did say that, didn't we?
We did say it would happen, and it did. And just one where he closes the keeper and it just smacks it into him and it goes in. It's mad how your luck can change once you get that goal. But Richard Hughes, I don't know what you call him nowadays.
Yeah, he likes to be called editor.
He's the editor of Match of the Day. I found the stat that Alan once went, how many? 16 games.
16 or 17, I think. I mean, I can't remember that, guys. I'll have to check that out.
Because when he said it to me, he said, I went, it must have been at Southampton when he was a kid. Then he went, no, it was when he was at Newcastle.
I can't remember that.
I bet you can't. You blotted it from your mind.
It's not often Rich is wrong, so it probably is correct. But I was on my last legs and I probably was carrying an injury. One of those things.
Hold on.
Excuses.
35 years of age. Oh,
the amount of times I've heard you chastise players. And you were sitting there with that terrible record. You should be ashamed of yourself.
And Alan, you giving it all those excuses, but you went, actually, they gave me another year contract after that season. So you weren't completely finished at all.
Oh, God, yeah.
But, in his defence, I did also go 6 games. Fantastic stuff. Good weekend for Tottenham.
Really good weekend for them. It was I know he missed that big chance, Chris Wood, but it was comfortable for them in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, they played the much better second half. It was a weird game, actually, because the first 20 minutes, Tottenham, I thought, were terrific. Scored a goal. Brilliant save, wasn't it, from the chance Johnson had. And then Forest for the last 20 minutes of the first half were outstanding, I thought. Played some great football. And they should have gone in ahead at half-time, but Tottenham were much better in the second half.
Yeah, it was. I agree. It was an up and down game. But in terms for Spurs and what it does for their top four hopes, we talked a little bit about Villa and Spurs, and I think Alan said Spurs would get it. I went with Villa, but they've got a game in hand now, and they've gone into fourth with the same points. So it's looking good. Again, what's his name? Postecoglou? Is that right? Is that
who?
Have I said
Posh. Postecoglou.
Who the fuck's Postecoglou?
When has there ever been a posh Australian?
What's his... Go on, give us it once more, Micah.
Come on, you can do it. Come on.
Is it Poster? Okay, Postecoglou.
Yes, Micah.
Big Ange.
I know we've spoken about him so many times, but he deserves so much credit just to keep going and going and going, and a couple of okay results, but then pushing on, finding a way, bringing in Werner, Brennan Johnson doing a lot better now as well. So, yeah.
But also, to be able to recognise something that's not going right. Half-time, 2 substitutions, turned the game, and it was comfortable for them after that. Interesting, we're talking about the difference between 4th and 5th now, and the advantage is very much in Spurs' favour. Ollie Watkins, interesting, I don't know whether you saw his comments on Match of the Day at the end of their game yesterday. He said we've not quite got that big team mentality yet about killing games off, which they probably should have done yesterday. Which it was obviously it was an honest statement, but what do you feel about players saying that sort of thing? But he said I'm not dishing my teammates. I'm including myself in that. But I mean, he's certainly not let the team down this season. He's been brilliant, and another 2 goals yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I get why he said it. I understand it. I haven't got an issue with it, and probably I agree with it. And you can't actually blame him for saying that, because in reality, that is the case. I mean, I know they had a good end to the season last season, and they're having a really good season again. But it's not. It doesn't just like, you can't just flick a switch in a season. All of a sudden you've got that mentality. It's going to take time. So I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think what he's saying there is really that big team mentality comes from being a big team. So until you are a big team and you're consistent with your success on the pitch, that can't come, couldn't it? Because it comes with success, doesn't it? Because big team mentality is knowing that you're fancying yourselves to go out there and win. You can't just say, let's have a big team mentality. It doesn't quite work like that. You've got to earn it, haven't you?
Yes, I agree, but I agree with you. I don't think it was anything bad, but would he have said that if he wasn't scoring as much goals as he is, So I don't think he's throwing his teammates under the bus, but
no, he wasn't doing that at all.
No, not all, but it's just, they're all in it together. They had a brilliant season, and you understand the frustration.
That was another cracking game, wasn't it? Brentford came from 2 down, then 3-2 up, and then Villa came back at the end. Brentford are only 4 points above the drop, not won for quite a long time now. I think they've got enough.
I saw Collins and Tony having a right pop.
Yeah, they're having a pop
at each other at the end of the game. What was that about? Do we know?
I saw Thomas Frank say at the end of the game that they were just kind of passionate and a little bit. He said a little fallout. He said, but I don't mind that. He said because it shows how much they care. That sort of thing. But yeah, I suppose the pressure's on when you're just a bit down. As you've often said, Alan, it's worse down the bottom than it is.
Absolutely, it is
at the top.
No doubt about that.
The pressure, and it's particularly in the state of affairs down the bottom at the moment, isn't it? With that relegation thing, with that amazing result that Luton had, that certainly deserves a mention this week, because that's got them level, and then Forest have had dot points, Everton have got dot points, they might get some more. The Peel, it's going to be so up in the air right until to the end, and we don't even know if we resolved on the final day of the season.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's madness. Absolute bonkers, that is.
What about the manager, by the way? Luton manager.
He's done a great job, Rob Edwards, and he's so emotional and passionate. I don't know about you, he's one of those managers that I think all fans like.
Yes.
Don't you think he comes across really well?
He's a good-looking lad, though, as well. He's smooth.
If you say so,
He's smooth on the touchline. He's got aura.
Yeah.
He's got presence. Yeah, he's done an incredible job, and the difference between Luton and maybe Burnley is that Luton have played to try and survive. They've played the way they have to. They've given it a right good go, and they've given themselves an incredible chance of actually staying in the Premier League. And if they do, even if it is by hook or by crook, if Luton stay in the Premier League, it will be an unbelievable achievement from him and his players.
Totally concur with that. And I think if they do, I think a lot of people will be rooting for them as well, because the things that have happened to them as well with the Tom Lockyer incident as well for that. Yeah. And they play with such a good spirit, and they've clearly got amazing camaraderie, not just in the squad, but with them and the fans as well. I don't think there was a single pundit that would have tipped them to stay up this season at the start of the season.
That's because you daft presenters asking us the questions.
Hey, although what I would say is there are some nuggets that said Burnley would stay up,
including me. But I think the real nuggets are the ones that said he'd be mid-table or top half, even. I think it was.
Oh wow!
Before we go? Did you manage to catch a bit of the Old Firm game?
Oh. Wow.
Blimey, it was a bonkers game. There was like 21 seconds for the first goal for Celtic. And it was Rangers equalised to 2-2 in like the 86th minute. Then Celtic scored again. And then Rangers scored, 93rd minute, equalised. And that title race is, it's a bit like the one, it's only two teams in Scotland, but and it's obviously those two teams, but that could go to the wire as well.
Ferocious. Absolutely ferocious. And when was it Matondo who got the ball? I'm screaming at the defender to just show him wide, and then I'm just screaming. I'm coming back from London. I'm watching it on Sky Go, and I'm thinking, oh, game's done here.
Is that because you're a Celtic fan? You were screaming that, Mike?
No, I just impartial pundit. Make sure I'm across all the games, Gary. And I was thinking, what are you doing? You're showing him the wrong way. And when he hit it, I just knew it was going in the back of the net.
What a finish, that.
It was an incredible finish. It really was. I don't know if you managed to see the goal, Al. He just bent it. Similar to Kevin De Bruyne's that he scored.
Yes, very similar the day before.
It was just a wonderful strike. Bent it, curl, right into the top corner. Last minute of the game, it was going, it was a great game.
Actually, before we go, we should probably talk a little bit about another kind of tough weekend for VAR.
Boo!
Not so much probably VAR, but also the interpretation of the laws and how everything now is kind of been manipulated, and it makes it so complicated. And particularly the Wolves equaliser, the header where they decided that he was impeding the goalkeeper's view, where the keeper could have moved anywhere he wanted to, but to be perfectly honest, but I don't know. I think technically they might make an argument for it, but but I don't think anyone thought within the game that's the kind of thing that, because it was headed straight into the corner. That was absolutely
wasn't getting it, was it?
Possible. It wasn't ever getting that in a million years.
Yeah, it's the laws, isn't it? It's the laws that just.
And there was one with your team, Newcastle, that got overturned. I thought it may or may not have been a foul, probably a little push, but certainly not enough, I don't think, for VAR.
He wasn't getting anywhere near the defender anyway. But it's
exactly. I know.
It's the old re-refereeing again, isn't it? It's like, I don't know. Let's not get started on that, because I'll just get angry.
But it's unfair to the referees then, isn't it? If it's the law. Because what are they supposed to do?
Yeah. No, I agree. That's the problem is, but who's making those laws?
IFAB. It's the IFAB.
IFAB. It's the former referees, Collini and
just to stay relevant. Let's make up some stupid laws.
Yeah, and then we can take 3 or 4 minutes to try and find a way of disallowing a goal and stuff. So it's a bit of a shame. Although I would like to say, and not everyone will agree with me on this, but I have quite enjoyed the fact that the games are going on a bit longer and we're getting more injury time when players have time wasting or they're down injured. So we're getting 8, 9, 10 minutes. I know it's probably a bit more tiring for the players, but this season is quite comfortably a record season for Premier League goals.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why.
And that's good. And I think that has to be the reason why. There's been so many goals scored in extra time and injury time when players are tired and stuff like that. But they've got 5 substitutes now, so you can bring them on.
Great for the forwards, or great for centre forwards. You know, if that was us playing, we would love that now, because the number of times that you think, okay, last 10 or 15 minutes there's going to be goals here because defenders are going to make errors and you're going to prey on the errors and what have you. So great for centre forwards.
Well, I think that's it for this Monday episode of the Rest is Football. A quick reminder before we go that if you haven't listened to Friday's episode from last week, then it really is not one to miss. We had an in-depth interview with Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk, his first ever appearance on a podcast, he told us, talking about his upbringing and route into professional football, the magic of Jurgen Klopp and the greatest players he's played with and against, and of course their title chances as well. So if you haven't heard it yet, it's still relevant, and his side is still going for the title, even though they dropped a couple of points yesterday. So there we have it. That's it. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Have a great week, everyone.